Yo, we're back with another episode. The election is coming up in less than 4 days. Actually, this election has been going on for the past couple of weeks. In this episode, I'm going to go through my election predictions of what I think the outcome is going to be. To our first and last time viewers, this is a Perfect Political Storm podcast. Give this video a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, as we'll be giving you a unique view on politics. Go to our website, perfectpoliticalstorm.com, where you'll see some of our articles we've uploaded. Let's go into this. Let's go into the predictions. First of all, we're going to go into filling out the states, which we don't think will change, or we just know what's going to happen in there. So I'm going to run through the states for Democrats and Republicans. So for the Democrats, it's going to be Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Illinois, Vermont, New York State. We also have Virginia, DC, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. This is well, hopefully I've got all these states right. Also, we have New Hampshire as well, and Hawaii. Then for the Republicans, the one that we think they already know, North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. So the rest, the rest we're going to talk about. So we're going to give some background information too. We still kind of know how it might go, but it's some interesting trends. So first we're going to start with Montana, which has been consistently voting Republican, except in '92 when they voted for Bill Clinton. Recent poll showing Trump has the lead by around 9%, so we think it's leaning Trump. Other places we use the leans, but when I'm quite confident that okay, it's going to go to Trump, I'm just going to put it in normal red. I only want to be using this when I'm really undecided. I don't want to overuse that. So the next one is Nevada. Has been voted for voted for Democrats and Republicans, but since Obama has trended Democratic. However, in 2016, it was a tight race for Hillary Clinton to clinch it. Recent polling also shows that it's been tight, but it's been favoring Biden, so I think he will hold it. Alaska also consistently voting Republican since the 70s. Recent polling, so a lot of them are kind of like Alaska, where Biden is not going to do nearly as bad as Hillary did, but we still think Trump is gonna win it. So Alaska, we give it to Trump. With Missouri as well, also the same thing. It's been Republican since '96. It was a blowout for Donald Trump in 2016, but Biden is doing a lot better than Hillary Clinton did. However, Trump is still going to take it. That's the exact same for Indiana, but they voted for Obama in 2016. But that's Iowa for Indiana. So moving on to the next ones now, we have a bit more interesting with what type of states are left on the map. We have stuff which are swing states, things which weren't really in play before, but they are in play now. So maybe have a different electoral voting pattern. Also, some which were very much prevalent in 2016 and were part of the story. So first of all, we're going to start with Ohio, which is our normal swing state, which we have, which is everyone knows Ohio to be a swing state. It's like both Democrat and Republican before. It's always been narrow margins. Trump did win this in 2016 by 8 points. Recent polling by 538 is showing that there's been a change in polls throughout the race. Quinnipiac polling showing Biden up by 5. Fox polling showing Trump up by 2 or 3. Looking at the polls recently, the whole trend has shown a narrow Trump hold. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Trump will narrowly hold it, and we will put it in this color. The next one we have is Michigan, which is a Rust Belt state, a big automotive sector, voting Democrat since '92. Trump did win this in 2016 by 0.2% which is a very, very, very small margin. I didn't need to say very three times, but you get the gist. Small margins. Polling, however, has been showing Biden's been leading the whole way through. Recent polling showing an almost 10-point lead. So I think I'm going to put this in a confident blue that Biden will take Michigan again. Wisconsin was also part of the story in 2016. Has been voting Democrat since 1988 until Trump won it narrowly by less than a point. The beginning was close in the race this year, but it's widened seemingly following the coronavirus pandemic. Biden has been in the lead. Emerson polling showing Biden being up by 7 points. ABC Washington Post showing 17-point victory, which to me seems a bit. It seems a bit crazy. I'm not really sure it's going to go 17 points, but I think we can also give it a confident blue, which is just interesting that two of the states which were narrow victories for Trump already have been trending such heavily in Biden's favor. Minnesota over here, the senator from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. We know she's from there because she mentioned it every 5 seconds in her presidential bid. Voting Democrat for a long time, in 2016, Hillary Clinton only won it narrowly. Biden has been in the lead the whole way, though. Recent polling showing double digits margin. I don't think he'll reach double digits, but I do think Biden will take it. Next one is Pennsylvania. Wait. I made a mistake. When I was doing this video earlier, I actually looked at the wrong polling data. Once I insert it, you'll see that clearly it's been trending Democratic. It's still going to be close, but it's going to show red on Pennsylvania, but actually I meant to put blue. That was an accident. Let's just get into this video. This one I'm a bit less confident in, but this was part of the Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin where Trump won it by such less than a point, such small margins. It was normally been going Democratic until Trump did win it. The polls were tight in the beginning of the race. Biden has been leading the whole way, but the polls are showing it is tightening up, and that's a trend that's going on. Trump is really coming last minute hard, and he is tightening all of these races that were not comfortable before, but Biden was leading. Trump has come last minute. They've had a bit of controversy in their state with a black man being shot, controversy to the looting that's been taking place. Also, another scandal that's been going on, which is some of the mail-in ballots in one particular county has just gone missing and nobody knows the whereabouts of them. That will be very important to keep an eye on that, because the small margins that they lost, less than a point, we can't have mail-in ballots going anywhere. Especially with the Democrats having a big campaign for people to vote early and mail in their ballots, it's going to affect the Democrats more than it is going to affect the Republicans. Not that the Democrats are so overwhelmingly outdoing the Republicans in mail-in ballots, but it will still affect them more. And when we see the early voting data, we can see that the people, again, we say that they're registered Democrats, but it doesn't mean they're going to vote Democrats, but they have been it's been double the number of Democrats which have been doing mail-in ballots than Republicans. Republicans always tend to vote on the day. Another big issue has been the fracking and energy policy. I want to give this a too close to call, but I'm going to give this a slight lead. I think I saw a poll that said that Biden might be winning it, but I'm just going to give Trump the slightest of edge here in Pennsylvania. So the next one we've got is Iowa, the first state to vote in the primary. The voting record has been all over the place. They voted for Bush, they voted for Trump, they voted for Obama. All the races have been very close though. The polls in this election have also been all over the place, which different people taking the lead from Trump and Biden. In October, it seems that Biden has caught up to Trump, but recent polling has shown from Quinnipiac has shown a point lead from Trump. However, Selzer poll is showing Trump being ahead by 7 points. So it looks like the Republicans again can be pulling a last-minute attempt. The early voting trends have been consistent with Democrats doing more, but we won't read too much into that. And the big issue seems to be over trade and agriculture, especially with the China trade war. Some people agree with Trump in theory, but it has decimated their community in their farming sector. I do, however, think Trump will eke this one out narrowly, but I think he will take Iowa. Unless there's a massive swing to Biden, but This, I really should also be putting this as a toss up, but I'm going to put this in very light pink because, again, we're not sure how it's going to go. So, with these two other states, we have Nebraska and Maine. So, Nebraska and Maine. Small electoral votes, but they have a different system. They don't give electoral college based on the statewide popular vote. They give it based on their districts. I was reading an interesting story that Nebraska said that the state were tired of being ignored during the presidential election, so they decided to change up their voting system. And to be fair, for somewhere which is quite, it looks like it takes quite a lot of space, but only 5 votes. So, in Maine, we have the Senator Susan Collins, who's fighting for a political career. She's Republican. She looks like she's going to get voted out, but she's basically pleading to save her political career. We think that statewide, so we're just going to go here, Maine will go Democratic. And it will in their first district as well. The second district is a bit different because it's more rural and conservative, but in the 2018 midterms, they did go with the trend of the blue wave and elect a Democrat. So we think that it could possibly go to Biden as well, but we'll put that in a lighter shades, showing that the second district could go Trump, but we think it might go to Biden. So in Nebraska as well, statewide, we think it's going to go to Republican, especially also in their first and third district as well. But in their second district, we have been seeing some trends towards the Democrats. So we do think that the second district could elect Biden. So we'll put that in light blue as well. I might make it darker. Yeah, we'll put that in blue as well. So, which states do we have left? We have Arizona, Texas, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So already we can see up here that the Democrats are 254. That's 16 points away to take the victory. Republicans are behind a bit with 166. But we shall see with the map. There's so many different scenarios that each one could win, but these states here are very important. One which is very important for Trump's re-election campaign is South Carolina. South Carolina has been voting Republican since '76. It's quite the trend is still continuing towards Trump. He won by more than 10 points in 2016. Trump has been leading the whole way. Biden has closed the gap, but I don't think he'll make that 10-point deficit. The reason why I left this last is because the Senator Lindsey Graham, who's quite well known, he's fighting for his career. He's locked into a tight battle with Jamie Harrison. Jamie Harrison, the Democratic candidate, has broken all the fundraising records, beating Beto O'Rourke, who in 2018 midterm was facing Ted Cruz in Texas and fundraised a lot, but Jamie Harrison has beaten him. So they're in a very tight race. The polls are up and down. I think Lindsey Graham will hold on to his seat, and I also think Trump will take this. The North Carolina is also another hotly contested state. It's generally voted Republican, but it voted for Obama in 2008. It's been close ever since. Trump only won this by 3 points in 2016. Biden has a narrow lead throughout the race, but it's only been by a couple of points. It's not been massive. So it's been really just a couple of points that Biden has been leading. And I think that gets me nervous because I think, as I said, Trump has been having a last-minute comeback and been really closing the polls. And maybe on election day it could go to Trump. In-person voting has been evenly divided between the Republicans and the Democrats. More Democrats have been doing mail-in ballots, but that's just how it's always been. The Trump and Pence team has visited there 12 times, which is a lot, and it's very important for Trump's re-election campaign. We need to get this number up, so it's very important. I do think a high turnout, though, because it seems like there is going to be a very high turnout in North Carolina. I do think that I'll favor Biden, but I'm less confident with this. So I'm going to put this in a very light blue. And I think it'll go to the Democrats. Already we're at 269, so clearly Biden just needs one more state out of these 4 to make it and to win. So with that being said, I'm going to go for Texas, which is the largest state left, got the largest electoral votes up for grabs. So with Texas being a Republican state, it's only voted blue in 1976 for Jimmy Carter. As I said before, the 2018 midterms, there was a tight race between Beto O'Rourke and Ted Cruz. Beto breaking the funding raising records. The polls are showing that it started off with a Trump lead, but at some points Biden has overtaken him. Trump seems to hold a narrow lead towards the end of the stage, but we have some reports that Biden is having also a narrow lead. So it's been chopping and changing the whole way. The margins are just so small. 9.7 million people voted already. That is a large amount of people. And stats coming that 57.3% of registered voters have casted their ballots already, which is close to 59%, which casted their ballots in 2016 at all. So already we know Texas is going to break their records for turnout, because before election days even started, they're already halfway there. It hasn't surpassed 60% turnout since the early 90s and possibly could pass 70%. This is imperative for Trump's re-election campaign. This is definitely needed. The Republicans have had Texas for a long time. If the Democrats flip this blue, which will be historic, there is no way back for Trump at all. I think this should be toss up, because I shouldn't even be coloring this in, because I really think it's going to come down to the wire. We're just going to have to see what's going to happen. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Republicans. I think it's going to be like the 2018 midterms, where we thought it was going to be close and Beto might unseat Ted Cruz, but I think Trump will just get it. And I'm going to put this in the lightest possible red as well, because I'm not too sure, but I think Trump might take it. So that puts the Republicans at 213. Biden still just needs one more place. Still needs one more place to go. So with the other ones, Arizona is a very interesting state as well. It's generally voted Republican, except in the 96 Clinton re-election campaign. Demographics are a very big part in that. Apparently it's known as a retirement state, where a lot of seniors go to retire. But again, in normal times, that would be good for Republicans, but because of Trump's coronavirus response, it's not been good for Trump at all, and he's being support from there. In March, Trump was leading, but since then, Biden has led the whole entire way for like 4 to 5 points leads in the polls. But Trump is narrowing polls again, which is following the trends that we've been seeing everywhere else. Mailing ballots seem to be requested evenly by the parties, so no major thing to look into there. Republicans have seen their support decrease. So the suburban white women to which Trump has been bleeding this whole entire election will come into factor there. In Arizona, he's been losing support from there. This was the state where John McCain was from, who Trump was openly disrespected. The Senator Jeff Flake, who was there, who Trump also targeted. And in the 2018 midterms, they did elect a Democratic senator in Arizona. So we do think that Biden is going to take it. I'm a bit more confident in this, that Biden will take it. So I'm going to put it in a medium blue. Obviously less confident with North Carolina, but more confident with Arizona. Oh, sorry, I think I put this in red by accident. This is meant to be in blue as well. So we have 2 left. Well, already we have Biden winning. That if you're looking for a major prediction, Biden, by the way things look, is going to look like he's going to win this election. Anything can happen. The polls are closing in so fast. Trump has really been ramping things up. We don't know with what the Republicans can put out the bag. But from what I see with all the data and following this election, Biden is going to win. However, we do still have 2 more states to go. I'm not even sure if it's mathematically possible for Republicans to win at this point. But let's go through these 2 other states, because obviously it won't go through the order that I put it in. I put it in the order of just which way I want to talk about. So we'll see with the other 2 states. So for the other 2 states, we have Georgia, which has voted Republican since 1991, voted for Jimmy Carter. and for Bill Clinton's first election campaign. So that was in 92. Currently, it's a toss-up state. Trump carried it by 5 points. It's been a tight race from both Trump and Biden. The polls have been showing again that they've been quite close to each other the whole entire time. There's a lot of black people in this state. You know, Atlanta, Georgia is famously renownedly known for all the rappers and the culture and the strip clubs, etc., etc. But we won't go into that right now. The polling shows that there are a large amount of suburban white women again who were turned off by Trump. Young college students who are also there who were exercised. This was the race in 2018 midterms that Stacey Abrams just lost the governor race by less than a couple of points. It was really close as well. Looking at some reports, they're saying that there's a lot of new black voters who have been voting during this campaign, that more than 26% of voters are new or infrequent voters, which is very interesting. That should help the Democrats because, especially with black voters, it will be interesting. Turnout in general has favor with the Democrats. So it will be interesting to see. I know I said interesting 10 times, but it will be very intriguing to see what happens. Georgia has the 6th highest cases in coronavirus, so that also could play a part in Trump's handling with the coronavirus. Early voting has been going on. 55% of registered voters have voted already. This is a true toss-up state, but I think that this might go to Biden just so slightly. Polls are so close. Again, a lot of these polls, if I put them in very light, I shouldn't even be predicting them because we don't know what's going to happen. But I'm just going to put Biden because I don't want to leave this map empty. I want to give a full prediction of what's going to happen because at the end of the day, it's not going to be tossed up on election night. There's going to be an answer. So the last state is Florida, which is such an interesting state to me. That's why I left it to the last. The coronavirus rate has been crazy. They opened up their state even though they had such high rates. You saw the pictures of people going for spring break that beginning of the coronavirus. 2018 midterms had controversy with the senator and the governor and Andrew Gillum. There was just a lot going on in this state. They voted for Obama twice, but very narrowly. Voted for Trump very narrowly. It's a true swing state. At the start, the race was really tight, but the race unfolded. Biden has extended his lead. In recent months, polls have tightened so much, which we've seen, again, that trend for some of the other states. And the height of the campaign, Biden was in by 6 points, but now it's literally only small to around 2 points. Recent polling from New York Times showing Biden up by 3 points. ABC Washington Post polls showing Trump up by 2 points. And those are very recent polls, so again, toss up. We don't know how this is going to go. Trump winning this state will put pressure. It depends obviously which order, so on election night, which order this comes through. But if he was to win it, it put pressure on Biden having to win all of these states that I put here. And especially Pennsylvania, because these are going to be very tight. So put pressure for Biden to having to win that. But, it's essential that Trump does not leave the state behind, because I definitely think if it's not Florida, then it's over. It's over. Trump has been trying to flood the airways with election ads. He's even put some election ads in Spanish with him wearing a mask. Biden has also tried to flood the airwaves with ads. In the last 15 days, he's been outspending Trump by $60 million, which is a crazy amount of money. Biden recently brought Obama out here to campaign as well. And 61% of the voters have already voted. The Democrats are leading 1 million ballots, but that's what the trend we've seen consistently. I think it'll be tight, and I'm not confident at all. I'm not confident at all as to where this is going to go with Florida. And I think I'm going to give it to Biden. By literally just the tiniest margins. Again, not confident, but I think Florida will go to Biden. The thing is that it depends really, it's really not just, I'm looking at an individual basis, but clearly if things happen on a night, like, for example, if Texas was to go blue, then I can give literally all these close ones to Biden, and that's what I think. But I'm looking at it as an individual basis. I really should be looking at it as like, if it happens that Pennsylvania goes blue, then these guys can go blue. Like, I find it hard to think that these guys will go blue. Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania would stay Trump. That's a thing. I might change Florida. Honestly, I'm going to keep it like this. This is my final election prediction with what I think the final results will be. I'm predicting a Biden victory, and I think that is what all the trends have been showing. Truly, if Trump pulls this one out last minute, then he has really done some hard grafting. His team has done a lot, but he's not been leading the whole way. In national polls, Biden is obviously going to be leading because Biden's going to win the popular vote. I think we've got that, but it's just the electoral college and how things are going to piece together, and the margins are going to be so small. So small, especially in all of these light colored ones. Margins are going to be very tiny, so we shall see. This is my predictions. I'm going to put some stuff up on the blog post to try and just put it into writing so you guys can see it on the website. You've got some of these articles that I've written about Lindsey Graham's Senate race. We've done the debate stuff, we've moved on from that, so hopefully I should get more articles up. Come to our Twitter page where I'm going to be a lot more active tweeting, and you'll get all the good stuff, all the good and fun stuff. So that has been Perfect Political Storm Podcast. Remember, a storm is always brewing, and trust me, when you see all of these states lightly coloured, a storm is always brewing. Election night is going to be very interesting, even though the results won't be completed on election night, because they've said already you can still be returning ballots even on election night as long as it's been posted. So loads of votes will still be coming in the next couple of days. Yeah, that has been the show. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe.